All right, we're diving right in with a special report today. We're talking about those emergency alerts that pop up on our phones. The ones that are supposed to be our lifeline. But what happens when the lifeline itself becomes the disaster? Let's get into it. So picture this. It's late. You're winding down, maybe about to go to sleep. And then bam, your phone makes that sound, that awful, jarring noise. It's an emergency alert. Your heart immediately starts pounding, right? You grab your phone, hoping for clear, calm instructions. But instead of clarity, you get this. Unknown airborne event? What does that even mean? Shelter immediate. Okay, but where? From what? Hazard unconfirmed. So you don't even know what it is? This isn't helpful information. This is just a pure injection of panic. And a message like this can cause way more chaos than the actual crisis it's trying to warn you about. So how on earth does a system designed to save our lives end up causing total confusion and fear? Let's pull back the curtain and really break down the anatomy of how these digital disasters unfold and, more importantly, how we can stop them. You see, the whole point of a public alert isn't just to share info. It's to get people to take a protective action. A really good alert gets people to evacuate safely. A bad one? Well, you get total gridlock on the highways, 911 switchboards that are completely overwhelmed, and in the worst-case scenario, you get a tragedy that was entirely preventable. So when an alert goes this wrong, what happens next is a total firestorm. And for the emergency managers in charge, they face a really critical choice that's going to define everything that comes after. This is always the first question, isn't it? The public is angry, the media wants a name, and leadership is looking for someone to take the fall. It's just human nature to want to find the one person to blame for the mistake. But here's the thing. That reaction, as understandable as it is, can be the biggest roadblock to actually fixing the real problem. And this right here, this is the absolute core lesson of this entire explainer. You can either blame a human or you can learn from a systemic failure. You absolutely cannot do both. See, if you just blame one person, you let the broken system off the hook. And guess what? The same mistake is bound to happen again. Learning means you accept that human error is usually just a symptom of a badly designed system. So if that's the problem, how do you build a system that's actually resilient, one that's designed to prevent human error? Well, surprisingly, it doesn't start with some fancy new software. It starts with people, and it starts long before any emergency ever hits. It starts with building trust. Just look at this list. True readiness begins with partnerships. Emergency managers have to get elected officials on their side for support and funding. They've got to coordinate with neighboring towns and counties because, a hurricane or a wildfire doesn't care about city limits. And, this is so important, they need to build real relationships with the media and with community leaders, the people who already have the public's trust and can get the message out to every single person. Okay, so once you have those relationships humming, the next piece of the puzzle is designing the messages themselves. And the absolute key here is to design them for real, stressed-out human beings who need clear, simple, actionable info like yesterday. Now, just compare this to that confusing mess from the beginning. This is a pre-approved template. It's night and day, right? It tells you the exact hazard, the area, what to do, where to go, how to get there, and even where to get help if you need it. There's zero confusion. It's clear, it's concise, and most importantly, you can act on it. And the best part is, these templates aren't just dreamed up in some back room. They're built with feedback from the community itself, from people who speak different languages, from seniors, from folks with disabilities. Why? Because if the message doesn't make sense to them when things are calm, it's going to be totally useless in a crisis. This whole process takes the guesswork out of the equation and seriously reduces the chance of human error when the pressure is on. To build a system that actually works, you have to be a little paranoid. You have to constantly challenge your own assumptions and embrace the what-ifs. The thinking can't be, oh, that's never happened here. No, it has to be, what are we going to do when it happens here? That kind of proactive, tough thinking is what separates a plan that looks good on paper from one that actually saves lives. This is exactly why you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Just relying on text alerts is a recipe for disaster. You need layers. You need the outdoor sirens. You need social media blasting it out. You need it breaking into TV and radio broadcasts. You need those media partners we talked about. The goal is redundancy, so that if one channel fails, the others are there to pick up the slack. But look, even with a great plan, perfect templates, and all those layers, it's still not enough. A plan sitting on a shelf is just a theory. Practice is what turns that theory into a life-saving reflex. It's what turns it into muscle memory. Being prepared isn't a destination you just arrive at. It's a continuous cycle, a loop. You train on the actual systems you're going to use. You run drills. You ask for honest feedback from everyone involved. You use that feedback to make the plan better. And then you do it all over again. And practice isn't just one thing. It can be a simple tabletop exercise where you just talk through a scenario. It can be a live, public test of the alert system to see how it works. Or it can be a massive, full-scale community drill, like a mock evacuation with police, fire, and EMS all working together. The more you practice, the sharper and more reliable you get. So, when you put all these pieces together, the relationships, the human-centered design, that paranoid what-if thinking, and just relentless, constant practice, you totally transform your emergency management system. You stop being reactive, just waiting for disaster, and you become truly resilient. So let's be crystal clear. The chaos and panic we imagined in that opening scenario, that wasn't inevitable. That wasn't just bad luck. That was the result of a system that wasn't designed for success. A resilient system, one built on a foundation of preparation and practice, would have led to a completely different, life-saving outcome. It's a choice. And that really leaves all of us with one final, crucial question. We all depend on these systems, but how much do we really know about them? How practiced are the people running them in our town? How clear are their messages? It's a question worth asking, because when seconds count, preparation is absolutely everything. Thanks for tuning in.